I just turned this platter. Quite pleased with it. It's from a bunch of scrap wood I have had laying around for a long time. So why don't you come along with me on this little adventure. I'll show you how I turned this. As usual, in midstream I'll change my mind. Seems I hardly ever get through a project without changing somewhere along the way. Hope you enjoy this. Now, have you ever seen a news article on TV or maybe in the paper about people they call hoarders? Some of these people have got TV guides from 1966 stacked in the corner of their house, and they won't get rid of anything because they say, you know, I might need that someday. And that just makes no sense to me at all. Now, there are actually people who would say that I'm a hoarder because I keep wood pieces. Okay, I'm guilty. I can't let them go. I've been holding some of these for over 20 years. I've got maple, I've got walnut, purple heart, cherry, some figured maple. There's arbutus over here, also known as madrone, paduk, lacewood, tigerwood, bacoti, and some of them are very small. I admit they're thin, but they're wide. There must be a use for them. So I've decided it's time to clean up some of this stuff, but I can't throw it away. So I'm going to try gluing up a whole bunch of these in random orders and make something out of it. I was thinking of just taking a whole bunch of things and just gluing them together, turning the bowl out of the big blank that I get, but then I'm working with side grain and end grain, and I hate working with end grain, which is why I like doing segmented turning. Okay, whoa, hold it, whoa. Okay, I'm sorry, I overstated that a little bit. I don't really hate turning end grain. I just meant that I really prefer turning the long grain. It's just much more pleasant. So, sorry about that. Now, let's just go back and start this again. So, I'm going to glue a whole bunch of these things up and make something segmented out of it. Haven't even designed it yet. Just thought about where it's going. I got a lot of gluing to do first. So I'm going to get after that right now. Stick around, maybe you'll enjoy this. One of the challenges in using this scrap is that I'm working with both fairly wide pieces like this piece of cherry and very narrow pieces like this maple. So, not wanting to waste any, I'm taking the narrow pieces and I'm gluing them down together. But as you can see, over time they've warped and I've got a gap here. So to take care of that, I'm going to put this in my vise, keep it from moving around. And I've got these Bessie clamps. Now normally you clamp everything between these two jaws up here. But because of the narrowness of this, I'm just going to use this part of the jaw. So I can put these in here, tighten them up until the gap disappears, and I'll put 2 or 3 clamps across here to make sure it's tight all the way along. Then I'll take this out of the vise, set it up like this, and I'll take other clamps and put them across to make sure that this is clamped tightly to this board as well. It's very time consuming. So I'm going to do the same thing with glue. I'll be back to show you. And there we have 3 narrow pieces of maple on 1 wide piece of cherry. Alright, if I had known how long this was going to take and how much glue it was going to take to glue all these small pieces up, I'm not sure I would have bothered. But now that it's done, I'm kind of looking forward to turning this. If you've watched my videos before, this won't come as a surprise to you. For those of you who haven't watched before, I'm changing my mind. I do this all the time. I get partway through a project because most of the time I don't like to plan them to the nth degree. I just kind of go for the flow. So I've changed my mind. I'm not going to do segmented rings. I'm just going to glue it up just like this. It's 12 inches across. So I'm going to find the center at 6 in this direction, which is right about there. Now the shortest piece I'm going to use is this one right here in the middle. And it measures 11 3/4 of an inch. So I'll come in half of that, 5 7/8. If find the center of this board, which is right there. All right, so that's going to be the center of the bowl. 11 3/4 is its maximum, and I just happen to have a circle cut at 11 3/4 of an inch. So I've drilled a hole to accommodate this nail. I'll put that in there, center it right on the center. And now I can move these boards up until I'm going to just cut off as much as necessary. And I will mark their lengths, cut these off. Then I'm going to glue them up in a big block and turn that. So I'll come back after they're glued together. I'll put them through the bandsaw to make a circle, and I'll bring it back to show you. All right, cut it fairly round on the bandsaw, flattened the bottom. Now I'm ready to mount this glue block on here. It's a threaded glue block, so it's going to thread right onto my spindle on the lathe. To do that, I'm just going to use this center finder. Still got that mark in the center. Put this down on here, and I'm going to attach it with my old friend, hot glue. I really believe in this stuff. It does a great job as long as you get it hot enough and put enough on. I'm just going to run a real heavy bead all the way around. I'll give that a few minutes to cool. And then I'm going to take it over to the lathe. Start doing some turning on this. All right, I'll give that a few minutes to cool, and then how about joining me over at the lathe? I'm going to be using my 3/8 inch bowl gouge, my general favorite. First thing I'm going to do is true up the outside, get it all nice and round. I'm going to be turning it at 1000 RPM. That's trued up nicely. Now what I'm going to do is start taking the face off. This is the thinnest piece right here, so it's not going to be a very thick platter. We'll see what I come up with here. All right, I'm just going to sand this now. I have it sanded to 400 now, and I put a very small dot with a pencil right in the center. The reason for that is I want to reverse this onto the same glue block, hot glue it on, and then turn the back side. This is probably going to hold food. It is a platter after all, and so I'm going to finish this with oil, using mineral oil. So I'll reverse this, and come back and show you the next part. I had every intention of reversing this and putting the glue block on this side with the hot melt glue. However, when I took it off of this side, it actually tore some of the grain out just a little bit. Hot glue is good stuff. But having this already sanded to 400 grit, I don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to put this on my vacuum chuck instead. Alright, I've got the vacuum chuck on here now. I've still got the mark on the back, the bottom side. So I'll just bring this live center up to there. And now I am ready to turn on the vacuum pump and start turning this. Alright, I have the live center brought up in the tailstock just for a little additional support, not being totally trusting of the vacuum chuck. I'm going to define the size of a little foot that I want to put on here with my parting tool, and then I'm going to start cleaning this away. Turning at 1000 RPM, and I will be using my 3/8 inch bowl gouge, at least to start. If I tried taking too much off all the way across, this outside edge would just end up getting weak and it would start to vibrate a lot. So I'm going to work on just this much right here, get it a little bit thinner, and then I think I'll sand that before I carry on. I don't want to even be sanding when it's vibrating. So I'm going to just touch this up just a little bit more. Alright, I'm just going to sand this off camera and then I'll be back. I have this area sanded to 400 now. So I'm just going to turn the vacuum chuck on for a little more support. It's just being very loosely held actually by the tailstock, the live center. And then I will start turning from here. Alright, I believe I've gone far enough here that I should sand this now. And I also want to put a fresh edge on here, just hone this up a little bit. This is all sanded to 400 now. I have freshly honed the edge of my gouge so I can carry on from here. Now I want to come in here and make this just a little bit concave. I'll use a skew chisel to create some grooves, and I don't have to get right to the center, although I will attempt to at least. I'll pull this back a little bit because I'm going to put my logo coin in there, so I will be drilling a recess. I've lowered the speed to 250 RPM, and I'll drill the recess for the logo coin. Alright, now I just need to sand all of this, glue in the logo coin, and I'll be ready for putting oil on this. There's my logo coin. Now I'm just going to put a drop or two of medium CA glue on the back of it. And I'll push this into place. And I'm going to use a dowel pushed in by my live center to hold it there for a few minutes. Make sure that glue is totally set. Then I'm going to take it off, sign and date it, and it will be finished. Man, applying the mineral oil sure made the colors pop. There are some strips of Padauk and Purple Heart in here that are only a 32nd of an inch thick, and the colors just pop right out. Still a little mineral oil beading on the surface here. It's still a little bit wet. Well, I'm really happy with the product. Project was fun to do. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you'll come back next time. In the meantime, have fun in your shop and be safe. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye now.